3 years ago, we at the Get Together produced our first public service announcement. The topic was scams targeting older adults.
The sad reality is that today's scams targeting seniors are not only skyrocketing, AI technology has enabled criminals to create deep fake videos on social media, clone voices on the phone to imposter websites, to the point we are not sure what is real or fake.
The increasingly sophisticated AI scams put older adults at even greater risk than before. At risk is your money, your personal information, and your health.
There are steps you can take right now to improve your security. Update your password for your home Wi-Fi.
Change your settings on your smartphone to send all unknown numbers to voicemail.
Do not carry your Social Security card on your person. Put it in a safe place.
Review your bank and other financial accounts on a regular basis.
Delete apps on your devices you are not using. To help you fight fraud, check out the tools listed below.
Remember, the more seniors know, the safer you will be.
The opinions and views expressed on this program do not reflect those of the management or staff of Community Media of Staten Island.
Okay, folks, we're back for another podcast, The Good, the Bad, the Indifferent. I am Reuben Warren with
Dave Frankel.
And Mike Axelrod.
And welcome, folks. What was I? Oh, mugs. We have mugs for sale. If anybody is interested, you can contact us. Just drop us a note at our email address is, we'll put it up on the screen, the GBI podcast si@gmail.com. Drop me a line. I'm not quite sure the cost, but drop me a line and I'll get the cost. And we have a couple for sale.
And it's what's nice about it.
It's real.
On one side, you have the picture of the three of us, which it's not hard to. It's very hard to get pictures like that. And it has GBI, good, bad, and different, and on the other side it spells it out. So I think it's a good deal.
It's a 3D. We have it in 3D. So zoom in. Zoom.
We have a 3D, right?
Yes, GBI.
All right.
Okay, so Mike, you wanted to mention something.
Well, we're in the middle of summer here in where we tape in the great land of Staten Island, New York. And, and it's been hot. We're in a heat dome. It's got 100 degrees
hot
every day. And the place I like to cool off, where people can cool off if they don't want to just sit in an air conditioner, go to the grocery store, put their head in the freezer. You go out to a park, you go out to a shaded area in the park, and you're surrounded by trees. And we're known as the borough of parks, Staten Island. That's our moniker, so to speak. I don't know who Monica was, but she...
Nice girl.
Was she? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you date her?
Monica? Yeah.
I did date a Monica.
A Monica, really?
Right. So our Monica is the borough of parks.
I played them a Monica. Oh, no, okay.
Which parks to me means trees, shaded areas, trees. Some people have swings and things for kids.
That's parks, by the way, excuse me, parks with an R, right?
Parks with an R as opposed to...
With
Parks.
2 A's.
Parks.
Parks. It depends how you speak. If
From
you're Boston, you go to the
Boston,
park.
Yeah.
Parks, right.
And let's go to the park and let's park the car. But we're in Staten Island, so we're doing...
It's parks.
We put Parmesan, parks. Like
Parks.
Parmesan.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Oy, where did we get to?
Oy
Where did we get stuck
this
with?
is getting...
Well, anyway,
bad.
we're the borough of parks. And I was reading an article in the paper the other day, an interesting little article, about how they just finished a global survey about how many trees there are on the planet. And can either of you guess the number they came up with? Okay.
Number of trees?
The number of trees on the planet.
This many.
Yeah,
So,
I'd say about this many.
I don't know how you can do that.
How you can do it? Well, that
They
leads
must
us
have
to
sent out-
into how it was done. Because the consensus for a long time was about 400 billion. That was the consensus of scientists who studied it from satellite imaging, from going around and people looking at land masses and multiplying and counting. But that wasn't really scientific enough, because when you do it from a satellite, you're looking down, you see the canopy and you make an estimate, but you don't see what's underneath the canopy. You can't get through it. So there are literally hundreds of thousands of studies that have been done since with new technology and stuff. And they came up with a number now of a little over 3 trillion trees.
Right.
Now, we have 8 billion people on the planet, supposedly, and that's about 400 trees per person. I don't have 400 trees.
No,
I mean, each
Nobody
person,
gave me my 400 yet, but it's nice to know.
You mean each person that they sent out to count trees only had to count 400 trees?
But they didn't send out all 8 billion people. So if all 8 billion people were sent out, yes, they would only, when they all got to 400, they can go home. But they didn't send that many people out. They sent less people. But they extrapolated and figured it. They estimate now they're over 3 trillion. You would think that's a lot, okay? But, and it is a lot. It's a big number. But the amount of trees, they say, over time has decreased by 40%. So they're really, we're over 5, should be, if we don't deforest trees and we don't, our crazy environmental practices eliminate trees and things that we do, there should be like 5 trillion trees, which is important to think about, that there's only 3 trillion, where it could be a higher number. And what we do to our environment and how we treat our environment and what we do. And so but it's an interesting number, and it's a lot of trees. And it made me, because trees are very essential for the life on the planet, you know, with
Carbon
the
dioxide.
photosynthesis and how it turns the gas house greens, and how the carbon dioxide and how it gives off oxygen. It makes oxygen. Trees do that, and it's very important. And being in the borough of Parks, we have trees, and there's no cooler place to be in the summer than under a shady tree, so to speak, or walking in a shady park where you can cut the temperature by 10 or 15 degrees just being under the trees and walking on a nice bed. And it's very contemplative also. It's very soothing. It's very good for your soul. It's very good for your well-being. And in the times that we're living in today, I think it's important that people can get some well-being and have feelings of that. And it reminds me of we do a show, the three of us are part of a show run by our friends at the K Community TV here in Staten Island, in conjunction with the JCC, the CLLD program, where we produce shows ourselves. And we did a show recently on poetry, people coming in and reading poems.
It's a good show.
And it's being edited, and it's almost going to be ready to go on our channel, Channel 34, I believe it is. Is that correct, Ruben? Channel 34?
Channel 34, yes.
Channel 34 on our community TV. And it's an interesting program about poems and people reading poems. There's a fellow who came from New Jersey, New Brunswick, New Jersey, born in 1886. His name is Joyce Kilmer. Okay, he's a fellow named Joyce Kilmer, and he had a rest stop named after him on the New Jersey Turnpike. And he wrote it. He born in 1886. He died in World War I. A relatively young person, about 30 years old, and he studied the arts. He was a poet himself, and he wrote a poem called Trees. Joyce Kilmer, very
Sure,
famous.
we studied that in elementary school.
Yes, it's
Right.
taught in the schools. It's a short poem. It's a very interesting poem, and it is called Trees. This is a picture of Joyce Kilmer as a young man, and again, he died in World War I as a soldier, but he was and I just wanted to quickly read the poem. It's a short poem.
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
He writes, "I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree." And that's a beautiful poem. and it's taught in public schools, and it's taught to children all over the country and the world. And it just brings us back to the what trees can do for you, and what you can experience being among trees, and how it, and in the world we're living in today, with all the things that we have to worry about and all the things that we can control and things we can't control, there's nothing like going to a nice park, sitting among the trees, walking among the trees, cooling off in the summer, enjoying them in the winter. So it's one of God's greatest creations. And I think that, in the borough of parks, it's something we should think about a little more than we do, and give a little more credit than we do for what's around us.
Can I just add one thing?
Of course.
Ask you. I did not know until this show, until we talked about it before we went back on the air, the Joyce Kilmer, I thought it was a woman.
Well, names.
How would I know that found out it's a guy? Did you know
names in the turn of the century weren't as concrete as they are now, with separations of men and women and boys and girls. John Wayne. Remember John Wayne?
Of course.
You know what his first name was?
Marion.
Now,
the name of my mother.
It's not every day that you run into too many Marions now.
No.
Okay, so there were names, and he was also born in the early 20th century.
That's interesting. Very
there
interesting.
are names that are, crossed, Johnny Cash.
By the way, I don't think that was ever discussed. In elementary school, when we were reading that poem,
Right, it was never
it was never mentioned whether he was male
Maybe
or
in
female.
those days
We probably just assumed that
Yeah.
because the first name was Joyce, that he was probably female.
I
But
thought
it was
so.
never discussed.
Yeah, well, until Johnny Cash came along with his song. What was his big song?
Sue.
A Boy Named Sue.
A Boy Named
Right,
Sue.
right.
And that was an ironic song about how he had to overcome the idea that he was named Sue.
So getting back to the trees, you said the population they estimate is 5.
Well, right now there are they estimate 3 trillion
3
trees
trillion
on the planet.
And
if they hadn't, there should be, or they say it should be 40%. We've lost 40% of our trees over the last 200 or so years. So if you would think about it, maybe there should be 5 trillion trees as opposed to only 3. And we're not treating them as well as we should be, the trees that we have, although we are trying to replenish as we go along. But we are, we're not just being as great stewards of our planet as we should be, and that includes the trees.
Since we're on the subject,
Yeah.
I can now see or understand why when you go into a restaurant, and this is not just in one restaurant, just about every place, they don't give out napkins so freely. I've experienced where they just have.
you think it's because of the...
I'm asking, is it because what you've discovered or what you read could be that there are less trees and I don't understand. They don't, I'm telling you, they don't give napkins, or they'll give napkins out 1 or 2. But with me, I needed like 3 or 4. But I mean, you haven't experienced that?
No.
Okay. Have you experienced that?
There is a
Well,
sufficient...
then I'm getting the hell out of here.
I usually have a sufficient supply supplied by the restaurant for me. If I need extras, I ask for a couple of extras. But, but I know you... Do you have a bib? Do you bring like a...
I don't have a bib. I need many napkins. I just eat very...
Okay, well, then, you should make your needs known when you go in there.
I know, and I do.
Oh, good.
But
I'm also...
You're right.
But it's
You're probably
happened.
right. You're probably right. They get, a lot of recycled. You get a lot of products now, and you look at them, and they say it's made by recyclable materials.
Yeah.
So they reuse them. A lot of paper towels now are made of reused, composted material, and there's a whole industry that is trying to get rid of what they call the single-use type of paper, where it just gets thrown away, and this and that, and they can recycle it, and they can use it again, and they make new paper towels from old paper towels and things like that. And those save trees. So there are people who are...
I think there's something to it. I really do.
But trees are important.
It's not just one restaurant. I went to Manhattan, been in New Jersey, Staten Island, of course, and I see that as a trend. They don't
They don't put napkins down
They
on the
put napkins down, but they put one or two.
one or two.
And they don't have the napkin thing. You could pull napkins out. I could see that. That might be because a lot of kids go in and just. But I don't know.
I remember the napkin dispensers. They were on each table in the diners and the restaurants. You could just pull out as many as you want when you want them.
I'm not that much sure.
Well, no, the dispensers I could see that were taken away because people would abuse.
That's right.
Would abuse the just pulling napkins out at will. They'd pull them out 3, 4, 5 times at a time. That I could understand, but in general, I think when you go to a restaurant, they usually have napkins on the table. Right, when you sit down, they have a setting, and
I didn't say
there's always
they don't.
napkins there.
I did not say
even
they
fast
don't.
food restaurants. There's always a dispenser on the side.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, with
fast food. Yeah,
with napkins. So
okay.
And you know how you could tell if you go shopping, if there was an issue with napkins and you went shopping down the paper aisle, with the paper plates and whatever, if all of a sudden you didn't see packages of napkins, you would know that, or tissues, you would know that there was a problem, right?
Excuse me for breathing. I mean,
no. It could be that when they see you walk in, they just hide the napkins.
They sure do. Okay. So there you go. That's it.
But the trees. One of the reason we have. You said Staten Island is the borough of trees.
Parks.
And, parks. One of the draws of moving to Staten Island was the fact that we had all these parks. Mm-hmm. You could drive through certain parts of the island, and it's like you think you're upstate. That you're driving through literally the woods in some areas.
Or
it's
if you take a walk in the park at a Bloomingdale Park, and you walk 5 minutes into the park, you don't hear any more cars. You don't hear any more street noise. You don't get the light from the truck, and you can actually stand still for a few minutes, and you forget your way. That you're 5 minutes away from a road.
Even some of the
cars
parks along the waterfront. You wouldn't even think that you were in a populated area.
Or the green belt. You can go.
Right. Well, the green belt, correct.
I was in there with campers years ago, and I got lost with the campers. It can be that deep. It's a deep area.
Oh no, that's what there are some beautiful parks in Staten Island where you could be walking through a park and all of a sudden there's a pond or a small lake, something, and you could stand there for a few minutes, and you're just you're transported to you're in another place.
That's right.
And and if you let your mind relax, and it is very contemplative. It can be very spiritual type of experience to watch the birds.
But the issue that you brought up with 40% fewer trees on the planet. I don't know if that's significant. If it was significant, a lot of organizations would be making a big issue out of it. But I guess it's significant to the fact that the trees are not repopulating as quickly as maybe you would like them to. So what's going to happen 100 years from now? Is there going to be 40% fewer trees than there are today? I think that's the conversation that should be had.
I also would see on TV public service announcements with Smokey the Bear, seriously, about fires. And if you go into a park and you want to use have a picnic or something to make sure the fire places are out. He changed it. They changed it a little bit. Not only you. It says when you go and use the park, make sure everything is out. I did see that.
Well, considering it is
fires from
most
LA.
of the they're in rural areas.
Yeah.
So
right.
they're not. If a fire starts in a rural area, they're harder to contain.
That's right.
They're not. The fire department's not going to be there in 2 minutes, and it's going to be hard to contain. It's not like a house fire. And you lose a lot of ground. We've had the smoke came here from the Canadian fires. Remember, a few years ago we were choking here in New York. California's even worse because California's very dry, and they've had tremendous fires in California that even the land that they consume, the people who live there, homes, hundreds and thousands of homes have been lost to the fire in
Last
Hawaii
year.
a
I
few
think it
years
was
ago
last
with
year.
Maui, where they almost the whole island. You know, it was, you know, because so it's very important to be careful. There's a lot of rules to follow.
It's true. I'd like to ask you guys something. I was stopped the other day. Somebody came over to me and they said, I listen to you guys, your podcasts whenever they come out. And as a matter of fact, they said, I noticed you haven't done one in a while. When are you going to do the next one? And they asked me a question, which was a little thought-provoking. He wanted to know why we're doing the podcast. And I had to think, for a little while as to why I'm doing it or why we're doing it. And before I tell you why why I got involved in this, I'm curious to hear your answers, if you've ever really thought about it.
I enjoy any aspect of broadcasting because that's what I did for years, as well as teaching broadcasting, as well as working in radio, and this is the closest thing at this stage of my life. I mean, I'm not going to go out and look for a job right now, and yet this is the closest thing to working in the studio and having an opportunity to come in with our own program and talk about anything. I've done this in radio where we would have a talk show every day. Of course, the talk shows were set up by agencies, and I had to learn very quickly what the agency does and get people to talk and get them in front of the mic. So it's very close to me. It's something that I can do that in retirement that I can do without having to worry too much about
All right.
keeping the job.
Mike?
Well, I also enjoy interacting with people. Even, three of us together here, we can talk, and we're really not scripted per se very tightly, and we can go off on our own things. But the idea to share it with other people also, so people can use the technology, whether it's their streaming or however they consume this, and community television allows us to do this. And so even being able to share it. I've been in places too. I've come out of Trader Joe's or someplace or a supermarket. The guy behind me says, "I saw you on TV. You're the guy." I says, "Yeah, we just get together. We like to talk, and I'm glad you like it." And so to be able to share just a conversation, or to watch somebody else just have a conversation, it becomes a more personal way to do it. The three of us could sit around and talk ourselves, but nobody else would know what we're talking about, or nobody would care. So now this way now, other people can, share with us, just sitting around. And maybe that'll give them some impetus to share with other people that they know, that they can have conversations with about certain subjects or something. So it's I think the idea of the humanity part, and just, bringing things back to just people communicating with each other instead of just consuming mass media and not having any feedback or not being able to have a conversation or something. So just talking is also sharing, but it's
Right.
on a more personal level.
No, I happen to agree with the two of you. What I told this fellow was, for me personally, being retired, you're always looking for,
Sure.
For ways to fill up your time. And, this was something that I would have never thought of doing 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's something different. So, for me, it was just a way of also getting out of my comfort zone,
And
right? Because it's not, yes, it's having a casual conversation, but, we're also speaking to an audience out
Right.
there,
Right.
which is different. So for me, it was, looking for something to do in retirement, something different. Also being with other people, was important. Also, you don't want to be in the house all the time, so that also, fills a certain amount of time. But no, that's interesting.
it's a good.
And also, I know the community TV here at Staten Island, they would like more people to come in and do things
They
like
would.
we're doing too. And this is the opportunity they gave us was basically to showcase this type of communication and this new type of technology to communicate, to maybe have other people call community TV and say, well, how do I do that? Can I come in and do something like they're doing? And yes, you can. People out there can do it, and we would like other people, and the community TV would like other people to take advantage of it too, and come in and discuss it with them, and they'll show you and they'll tell you what's required, and you can do it too. So if you have something you want to talk about or a specific idea or something, you can people can come in too. So I thank them for giving us the opportunity to
Oh,
show.
absolutely.
Absolutely, thank them.
Absolutely. The other thing that just came to mind also is that there are probably 100,000 podcasts out
it's
there,
most popular.
easily, right? And
It is a very
and yet, what
popular
I
thing.
find unique about what we're doing is I don't know how many seniors are doing it, right? So, in a way, we're doing something that is not so unique, and yet it is unique in that
Very good point.
we're three seniors that decided to sit down and do a podcast, which hopefully will give impetus to some other, people that are retired
I
out
hope so,
there
I'm
who
sure.
are looking for something to do.
Be happy to help them.
All right. So, it's that time to
Is it?
bring in Mrs. Murphy.
Oh, my
Mrs.
goodness.
Murphy, you've
Mrs.
got a lovely daughter. Oh, that's not Mrs. That's,
Mrs. Murphy with another
This is,
idiom out of her book that I cherish dearly. So this idiom is get off scot-free,
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
right? Scott. Not S-C-O-T-T like, Joyce. This is S-C-O-T. The most likely origin of this phrase comes from the medieval England, where peasants had to make to their feudal lords a payment called a scotage. That's S-C-O-T-A-G-E. However, the poorest peasants would be exempt from this payment, thus going scot-free. Another possibility has it originating from tavern bills, which were also known as scots. In this context, going scot-free meant to have a drinking companion or friend cover the bill. So now we know about scot-free.
Very good.
That
and
has to do with picking up the tab, so
Yeah,
to
that's
speak.
I like that one with picking up the tab,
Mm-hmm.
We have
right?
to figure out next time. Ask Mrs. Murphy about how picking up the tab. Well, the tab, I guess, is the bill.
The
How's
tab,
The tab.
I guess. All right. When I see her, I will mention it. And with that, folks, till next time, over and out.
That's right.
Thank
Until
you.
next time, have a nice summer. Enjoy your summer. This program was produced through the facilities of Community Media of Staten Island.
Three years ago, we at the Get Together produced our first public service announcement. The topic was scams targeting older adults.
The sad reality is that today's scams targeting seniors are not only skyrocketing, AI technology has enabled criminals to create deep fake videos on social media, clone voices on the phone to imposter websites, to the point we are not sure what is real or fake.
The increasingly sophisticated AI scams put older adults at even greater risk than before. At risk is your money, your personal information, and your health.
There are steps you can take right now to improve your security. Update your password for your home Wi-Fi.
Change your settings on your smartphone to send all unknown numbers to voicemail.
Do not carry your Social Security card on your person. Put it in a safe place.
Review your bank and other financial accounts on a regular basis.
Delete apps on your devices you are not using. To help you fight fraud, Check out the tools listed below.
Remember, the more seniors know, the safer you will be.